Welcome to The Crew and You, where we walk with you while God works in you and through you. Today, as always, joined by my lovely wife, Kristen Crew. Today, down to business, we were talking about decision making. Going to help you make the best decisions of your life and the will of God. And because it is The Crew and You, we find ourselves talking about decision making, helping people make decisions with you. Yeah, this is a consistent topic of conversation. Obviously, even in our own life, we have to make a lot of decisions. One of the main questions I get pastorally is help with making decisions. It's a big part of life. So,
would you share your book title idea right now?
For them to go steal it?
I know. That's why I'm legitimately asking.
Yeah, of course. I don't expect anybody to go steal it.
Copyright here. You heard it here first.
Copyright.
Do you still? Is this still?
If a book comes out,
if someone
about
was
this,
like, write a book today, is this what you would write on?
Ooh, I don't know if I would write on. Well, maybe.
What are your book ideas? Well, tell us this one, but then okay. Maybe not. Maybe we're doing what we said we don't like, which is chit-chatting.
First thing I would do is turn Stress, Depressed, at Rest into a book. I still think that needs to be a book.
That is a cliffhanger.
Second thing I would do.
We will come back to Stress, Depressed, and at Rest soon. We just wanted to get off the depression train.
Instead of Stress, Depressed, at Rest, we're talking to Confused.
Okay, but that's not the book title.
But
you don't have to share it.
The book title would be called No Pressure.
Pressure.
Yes.
I thought that
this comes from it's a great book title, to be honest. It should be done. This is also, I have another book idea. Remember my Dr. Seuss kids books for Bible learning. So imagine like Dr. Seuss style.
Yes.
But biblical teaching content.
We have a lot of book ideas.
I know.
Man.
Just not a lot of time.
But remember when you read something that someone said, like, no one should ever write a book under 50? Do you still stand by that?
I don't stand by that as like a rule of life, but I do think there is some truth to like cultivated wisdom, you know? It's like people who they've been parenting for like 7 years and they write a parenting book.
Yeah, but
like,
don't you
bro,
think
you haven't even made it. You haven't even finished the thing yet.
Well,
I wouldn't dare write a parenting book as if I knew anything yet.
I feel like there's something to be said, though. If you, like, when you're in the trenches, number one, God's wisdom.
Sure.
I know we're off track. God's wisdom.
Way off track.
We're hypocrites.
Have left the track.
Okay, but I'm going to finish this thought anyway. There's God's wisdom supersedes what he can do in you, teach you, through you, supersedes any like age or life experience.
No, that's true.
And then also when you're not too far out of the whatever the trenches are that you would, because often there's a pain point in a book.
Disconnect once you get.
Yeah, like I think of it's harder. Let's just say for parenting, for example, like if I wrote about decision making in 30 years when it was a hard thing for me when I was 22.
Yeah.
If I write it when I'm 30, I might have a lot more contextualized thought on it because by the time I'm 50, I'm writing about something totally different.
Yeah, that's probably true too.
I think do the thing, write the thing.
Yeah, that's probably true. I think maybe that's a response to like everybody having an opinion, everybody having access to share their opinion, everybody thinking they know what they're talking about, and then you get a world of people producing and having opinions on things when they haven't produced any wisdom, or it's probably like a lash out against
just not wanting the cart to get before the horse,
so to speak.
Everybody
just eager to.
Well, how would you discern if someone has wisdom you would listen to on a topic?
That's a great question. Yeah, I guess if a bunch of people ask you, maybe
that's the question. Discern if the author you're reading has wisdom, but if it's rooted in the Bible, boom.
Of course, there's a lot of good things. Whatever. I can think of examples in my head. I won't do it.
Yeah, that wouldn't be fruitful.
Where people write about a similar topic and one just has like weight.
Yes, substance.
And the other feels like
I wanted to write a book.
Okay.
Yeah.
Same topic.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you can tell.
Yeah.
Somebody has wisdom on it and somebody has thoughts and Google.
Don't look down you because you are young. That could be out of order with age or life experience. Anyways. Oh, No Pressure. Wait, did you release that title?
No Pressure.
Okay, that's applicable. That's our.
That's what we were talking about.
Yep.
So, this is ever since my young adult pastoring days, when I came to realize constantly that people, especially young adults, and especially when they're making, let's say, some of your foundational major life decisions.
It can be a stressful time.
Yeah, legitimately so. But I just found that people were so like just crippled by the pressure of like getting this next decision right or meeting the right person within the time frame that I had planned on, or doing this and going to this school or going to take this job or moving to this place. And those are obviously all big decisions and they should be taken seriously, but you could just feel it. It was like an unnecessary weight that people felt to like get this decision right at 24 so that my life heads the right way, so that when I'm 30, I'm where I'm supposed to be. And it was like they felt the weight of their whole life on these decisions. And obviously things like getting married are a huge deal. But it was just like, I just want to tell everybody, and you see this now too, just, hey, take a deep breath. God loves you. He's a better decision maker than you are. If you have good intentions to try to do the best you can, and you're seeking the Lord and including the multitude of counsel, like if you're not being overtly, intentionally foolish and rebellious, but you're trying to do the right thing and you have options, you're going to be okay. Like, take the pressure off. You can also make bad decisions sometimes and God can redeem it. It's not excusing them or saying you should do it on purpose. But it's just the whole thing of like, God's really good at orchestrating things together. He knows. He's good at closing and opening doors. There's a likely world where you could go left or right with this decision. Both would be valid things to do. And God can work with it or lead you in it or close that door if he doesn't want you to go that way. So I just felt like the Lord doesn't want us to live with the stress of trying to orchestrate the outcome of our entire life with every decision we make. That's God's job. So I just want to help people chill out. Like, no pressure. Just live the life God's called you to live. Make the best decision you can and keep it moving.
Yeah. That's your life motto.
Chill out.
I just want to help people chill out. But
I think
also,
God wants to help people chill out.
Yeah.
Take a deep breath. Not be anxious about it.
Right. No, I think that's true. Every decision, particularly when you're young, feels like this could shape the rest of my life. And it seems counter to, like, I don't see the Lord ever saying stress about this decision, which is really a valuable thing to look in the Bible at times that people had to seek the Lord. And a lot of times we see people taking an act of faith and not understanding all the steps after that, or praying about it and acting without knowing the results. Like that is the reality for most things. And that's what the Lord has. We don't have to know the outcome or the 5-year plan or the 10-year plan, except to walk in.
Don't know the end from the beginning, other than heaven.
Okay, so I'm going to share 10 top questions we get that also Christians ask, that also puts them in decision paralysis, puts them in stress mode, puts them in high pressure, not your book idea of no pressure. And we can kind of touch on them.
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. Number 1, how do I know if this is God's will or just what I want? That's a tension a lot of people feel.
So how do I know if this is God's will or just what I want?
So let's say a job change, right? Or maybe a relationship, or maybe even being a foster parent, or retiring, or the
simplest thing would be to say you're probably overthinking it, because a lot of times God works through what you want. Like, what you want isn't necessarily, unless you're talking about sinful things, it's not necessarily bad. So I would say that creating some sort of divide, like here's God's will and here's what I want, and these two are separate things, isn't necessarily always true. So if I don't want something inherently sinful, then I make the best decision I can. And if this is something I could be passionate about or feels right in terms of timing, then I'll go do that. I do think that's really quite that simple. Like, you could take either job, so take the one you want. Obviously, there are things like if you need to provide certain level for your family, I can't retire if I'm not financially stable. I'm not going to take a job that's inherently sinful in and of its own essence. There are some things I would call obvious. But there's not like this huge divide all the time between God's will and what I want, as if there's like this spiritual high place I need to get to.
Yeah, you know that.
And like get rid of my own wants and passions.
What was that you just did?
Nah.
You know the verse like, he'll give you the desires of your heart. When I was little, I thought that meant he'd give me what I want. But
it sounds like it.
In actuality, he will give you your desires as you seek and follow him. So step one of all things that we say every time is to really be seeking the Lord, who he is, time with him, knowing him, becoming like him, because you will have no kind of reservoir to pull from. If you don't know the Lord and his ways, you can't try to follow him in a decision if you're not following him with the rest of your life. And with that, with all these things is like wise counsel. I don't think we can come back to enough. Have other people speaking into it. If everyone around you is going, don't make that move.
Yes.
Of course, discerning who the voices are around you. If you have people that are leading you astray, going a total opposite direction of what is best for you and what the Lord would have, discern that and surround yourself more with people you can trust their wise counsel. But have a multi-generational, that's why it's important to be in the church, in community.
Yes.
In small group settings together where you have wise counsel that can speak into these things and hopefully take some load off if everyone's going, no, I think that's okay to make that move, or at least I'll pray about it with you.
There's a ton of guidance and help in that. I mean, it really is like pray, try to discern God's will as best you can. Listen for his voice in those things. Pray for open and closed doors. Pray for passion. Pray for clarity. Ask other people, what do they think, and try to discern that. Read the Bible, see if there's a yes or no in there. Like, is there something the Bible prohibits or commands that I can follow through on? And if those things are settled, make the best decision you can.
Yeah. I also think, there's very few decisions in life that are irreversible. Like, you want to move overseas, reversible. You want to take a job. I think you should stay the course at your job. Like, the trend is to bounce jobs all the time. I think you should stay, but you don't have to.
Right.
You can leave. Don't oversweat it that you're signing your life away. Things like that are taking the pressure off too of like, seek the Lord. A lot of times we only know at this moment, at this step, I don't know what's ahead, but I know this is a yes. And God can close a door on the way if that changes. And I think God makes his will clear often. He can use people, his word, and circumstances.
Yeah.
And so, like right now, we're praying through some decisions, and I'm like, Lord, just don't let it be hard things that make it clear. Because there's so many times where it's like, okay, this is so hard. It's clear that this thing needs to give. Something's got to give in this situation, or something's got to move. Something's got to change. Something's got to. This is not good. So I'm just like, Lord, not this time. Make it clear through good things, which he doesn't owe me, but would be nice. But
worth asking.
And when we've made decisions in the past, that's been the case too. Like, I think we've talked about when we became foster parents, it was like, what did wise counsel say? What did the Lord say? Okay, was anyone worried about our marriage or our mental health? I want that to be a stop step if needed. But if not, let's just take the next step. Did we desire that? Yes. Were we laboring like, is this what? No, it's like something you say, I don't know how you say it, is like, if it's something that honors the Lord, you don't need to seek him that much on it. Like, do it.
Yeah, just do it. Yeah. There's so much that we like, I need to pray about. And it's like, if it's already true as something good to do in the scriptures, like, then go do it,
I do think of that phrase, just do something. Sometimes, like, there's so much that I'm like,
action.
We need to do this, like, as a church, as a family, in my job, whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, just do something. Like, take away the big picture, all the stress, the future, everything. Just take the step.
Yes. And also, too, clarity and so much of learning happens by the doing. So people want clarity beforehand, and that can happen. But as you live your life, you realize I get more clarity and decisiveness as I do things and learn, or even fail or succeed or whatever. So the more decisions that I make to go proactively try to do the things the Lord calls me to, the more I learn in those moments and the better decisions I make.
What was a time where you felt in most torment, like looking way back on your whole life, for a decision that had to be made? Like when you reflect on decision making, discerning God's will, knowing what to do, big moves to make, what is a time that you were like, oh my goodness, I don't know what to do? But my eyes are on you, 2 Chronicles 20:12.
Well, trying to figure out if I should marry you. That was a...
Yeah, right.
I
For
had
me,
to really think that one through.
I was thinking that through, actually. I think I
really
like
concerned.
did get stressed right before we got married, just like cold feet. Like I think I knew we've been together 4 years. Like I was not doubtful for any good reason, except like I feel like even though we were really young, I like just knew the weight of marriage. And I just remember asking my mentor some really crazy questions that she was like, "Are you good?" I don't know if she was like that, but it felt like that, of just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm doing this. It's such a big step. And marriage is such a big step, but it has truly been like a huge joy in our life. So I was stressed, but you were not.
No, I was not. I would have married you within a few months of meeting you probably, but you're too young for that.
I was too young, like you were so old.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, let me think. Big decisions that I was concerned about making.
Remember, his memory's not the best.
It's not. No, I'll think and you go.
Well, I'll tell you what I think it was for you.
Oh,
We've been together long enough. I can just answer for you.
Okay.
I think it was discerning where to start a church.
Okay.
So
yeah, that's a big decision.
Long before that, you knew starting a church, also known as church planning, was going to be in your future.
Right.
Studied it, believed in it, saw the need,
right.
And then it became clear pretty quick that that was your next step.
Right.
And then you got, I don't think recruited's the word, but that shows how many sports conversations are in our house, that they really wanted you to come out to California and start a church.
Yes.
And so I remember
highly recruited.
This was
top number one recruit in the country.
6 years ago.
2019, yeah.
Our 6.5-year-old had just come to our home when she was born through foster care, and she stayed back with 3 older brothers when she was like 6 weeks old.
You and I went to
We went to California.
Hung out with the guy.
We loved it.
The really funny part of that was, remember when we got to California, I had a rental car set up, and we were on it was sort of like a vacation for you and me also, even though it was a ministry trip. And I thought to myself, man, like while we're here, maybe the weather was beautiful. I thought maybe we can get a convertible or something fun, to make it more fun. And I went and I talked to the guy at the counter, and I told him we'd never get away and we were here. And,
you did?
And he was like, let me see what I can do. And remember, he came back and gave us that at no additional rate. I rented the cheapest car possible, and he didn't charge us any extra and gave me a black Mercedes convertible. You remember that?
Yes. I didn't know you gave him a sob story.
A sob story was not the story. An inspirational story. I inspired him to join me in making a difference in the world.
And in your marriage.
So he gave us that black Mercedes convertible, which we proceeded to enjoy. But also, I was driving a black Mercedes convertible to every church planner meeting that I went to. It probably wasn't the best look.
Yes.
Yeah. We're not big prosperity gospel people, so that wouldn't look good.
That's an understatement. That's an understatement. That's hilarious.
Okay, but we went there trying to discern if God was calling us to California.
All the pros and cons
We made a pros and cons list. I can visibly remember that.
Talking to older people that have been in ministry, older church planners, people that knew us, people that didn't know us.
Totally.
I would say you were stressed.
Yeah, it's a big decision, weighing out what the Lord might have us do. And it really came down to, obviously, one, especially for couples, there has to be agreement. So, we got to be on the same page. So it came down to that. And also, okay, what do we feel good about? And then where we felt like the Lord was really calling, in the sense of where we could make the biggest difference. And because we did have different connections or different people here. And there are times too where you find, especially moving, like when we went to Silver Spring the first time, and as soon as we got there, we felt like this feels right to be in this place. And then getting to California was fun and interesting, but also didn't have that same confirmation of being there. So there is sometimes, if I explore the place a little bit, there's a divine confirmation. Sometimes, not all the time.
Interesting. Yeah, no, I think I thought about that because, number one, I didn't feel stressed during that time. There's other decisions that have stressed me out that haven't stressed you out as much, or sometimes both, but I don't remember feeling, I was along for the ride, ready to support, whatever. But I don't know. I think I mean that. I'm sure, depending. But But you saying that sometimes confirmation's on the other side, I think that was true in that case, because
Totally.
as we took the leap, there were so many confirming things in the journey, like even the pandemic hitting and how that would have played out if we were newly moved to California. And
over time,
the
that
way
has proven, right?
The way the building opened up here, just the momentum we were able to have, that would be the complete opposite out there. Like there has just been confirmation where we literally have never looked back.
Never regretted or second guessed it.
Yeah, but California with the Mercedes for like a weekend would be nice again.
That was great. I still love Cali vibes.
You know what, church planners, invite him back.
I'm a big
Let's
Cali vibes kind of guy.
Let's go on another consideration.
Yeah.
I know. I did have to keep telling you that trip. Like visiting for a weekend is different than living.
We need to start a city light out there so I can visit it.
Okay.
Wait, did you have one? A decision that you were stressed about that you were going to share? I don't think we were that stressed about doing foster care.
No, we were not.
And we were kind of naive.
Not that that's, you can be stressed about that. It's a huge decision. I honestly feel like some of our big leaps, we have been easier for us than some of the day-to-day decisions, which is why I think it's good to have a good foundation, like a theological framework, like flexing this muscle, knowing what to bank on for these things, because if you're not struggling with this now, there will be things, and then you have kind of the wheelhouse of thinking and tools and resources to be able to handle decisions. But actually, and I think a lot of it's just God's grace and truly his provision. Like some of those big crazy things we've done that are crazy to most people did not feel big or crazy to us. Some of the harder things are the more micro instead of macro decisions that we've faced over time. So
it's even like moving houses. Difficult, but no question.
Yeah.
Moving the kids' schools, we did have to a little bit.
Schooling decisions are a whole thing. That. We've tried all the things at different times, but that.
Okay.
Okay. What if I make the wrong choice and miss God's plan? So people give us a framework for that. Can I miss God's plan? People ask this.
No, in the sense where God, and as if God were unable to orchestrate for you and to open and close doors. Yes, if you're willfully disobedient to his revealed will. So there is like God's will so often in the scriptures. His plan is primarily you becoming like Christ. So it's your character, it's growing in Jesus, it's sharing the gospel, it's doing the clear commands, pursuing holiness, fleeing from sin. So God's will so often, and in 1 Thessalonians is so clear on this, is attached to your way of life and your morality, your godliness. So you can miss God's plan and wreck your life by choosing to willfully rebel against his revealed will. But for those who are intentionally trying to walk with God, who are repentant, who obviously still sin but don't want to, and who are trying to discern God's way, then no, like you can't outthink God or take a left when God wants you to take a right if you're actually seeking him. It's just not God. I always tell people that God is a better decision maker than you are. God has the ability to open and close doors on your behalf. God wants to use your life for good things more than you do. He is orchestrating your life. Ephesians 2:10, that we are God's masterpiece, made to do the good works that he has prepared beforehand that we would walk in them. So the idea that this has been prepared beforehand for me, and God is weaving these things out. And if I choose to follow him and don't willfully, intentionally, consistently reject his obvious will in terms of my obedience, then I can trust that he is going to lead me down the path I should go. That's Psalm 25, I always tell people, is the best psalm for decision making because it tells me several things. One, it guarantees me, it says God leads the humble in what is right. So if I choose the path of humility, I guarantee I get God's leadership. Guaranteed. So that doesn't mean I feel it. That doesn't mean I'm never not confused. That doesn't mean any of that. It just means I know behind the scenes God is sorting it out. He has promised that to me. And it says in Psalm 25, verse 12, that to those who fear the Lord, he instructs them in the thing they should choose. So there's this, like, if I choose the fear of the Lord, what I get in return is God's instruction. Not his instruction just generally, but in the thing I should choose. So I can trust that whether I even feel super clear about it or not, God's instruction is leading me down a certain path, and the thing I end up choosing as I fear him will be the thing he wanted in the first place.
Boom. There's that verse in Job that says, like, God's purposes can't be thwarted beyond what he decrees.
Yeah.
And some release in that of, like, God's purposes will not be thwarted. Give us a
Right, he
word
is
on
sovereign.
God's sovereignty in all things.
Oh boy. I mean, the
Just
whole
like a
Bible's
word.
about that. We just preached through Romans 9, 10, and 11 that you see it, in the hand of Romans 9 example is Pharaoh and God's ultimate sovereign leadership and control over even Pharaoh's decisions, the outcome of the Israelites, that it may be difficult and confusing sometimes to tie the ribbon up in terms of my free will and God's sovereign choices. But what I do know at the end of the day is that God is absolutely, totally, completely in control of everything that happens in the entire universe, and nothing happens outside of his divine control. So whether you use the words allow or ordain or those kinds of words, you got to figure out what that means for evil or bad things that happen. They talk about God's will of desire and God's will of decree. These are two separate ideas. That God's will of decree are the things that happens. These things are decreed, and that includes bad things. God's will of desire is that these good things would be the holiness, that people would treat each other right, that people would worship him. And that doesn't always get fulfilled. People don't do things according to God's desire, but everything does happen according to God's decree. So my life is in the hands of a sovereign God who rules over all things in all places. And that might be, obviously, once again, difficult to understand in every situation, but is a firm foundation upon which I put my feet. I mean, this is the whole idea of Romans 8, nothing can separate me from God's love. Whoever he called, justified, glorified, like he starts it, he completes it. Philippians 1:6, God will finish what he starts in us. Just like God is in control, and he will produce the end that is he desires.
Yeah. And what I hear in that is just like the freedom in Christ we truly have, defining that as like God is in control. As we're seeking him and following him and acting in faith, there is freedom to enjoy what God has put before you. And so it is not supposed to be this tense, what do I do and where do I go from here type of life. And I would say in those questions, like we're hearing who God is and everything we know to be true and how we can navigate this life in light of that, with the sovereignty of God and the tender love, care, and mercy and gentleness of the Lord being so near to us. And, nothing being out of his provision or his ability to work all things together for good, as the word says. I wonder if a good question to ask in these times when you're making decisions and you're like, one of the questions is, how do I know if this is my voice or the Lord's? One way to stay curious would be, what does this say about me? And what does this say about the Lord? I'm talking about the mental battle of trying to decide. Yeah. Am I a people pleaser? Am I fear of man? Am I letting someone down with this decision? Am I worried what this person will think? Am I doubting what will happen in my future if I make this choice? Because another question is, how do I know if I wait or take a leap of faith? Yeah. I would say almost always take the leap of faith and wait. Like we're always waiting on the Lord. Waiting is both active, and not an either or. You can take the leap of faith, and I would say that's part of what you're good at that we've done is like, let's just take the leap and see. We'll keep waiting on the Lord if that changes, or waiting on the Lord if he says stop, or waiting on the Lord if something else becomes clear. But take the leap of faith while we're waiting on God to do something, Yeah. And so what does it say about me? What do I know to be true about me? One, just personality tendencies. I tend to overthink or underthink or care what people think, or I tend to just want to chase the next big exciting thing. Is that what's leading the way here? Or I tend to just act in fear. I tend to hate change is a lot of people's thing, And so if that's true, if I hate change and this requires a big change, okay, then that might be my fear speaking. But this big change is good, honors God. There's no stop steps besides I fear the change of it. Okay, then I should probably do it. But if this is I hate change and I'm trying to think of like an antidote of that would be like, okay, yeah, just exploring that may be a way to help kind of pull apart what is fear speaking, what is faith, but it shouldn't be this complex thing. But I will say, I do believe it honors the Lord to seek him, to know yourself. Like the Lord knows you so intricately, and it doesn't honor your walk with the Lord to be like, I don't know who I am. I just need to know who God is. Well, you can make more of God as you know your strengths and weaknesses. Right. You know how he designed you. He made you so intricately, so wonderfully, yet we are also flawed. Totally. And so you can make more of the Lord when you know your limitations, and he is so limitless. And so I think that can be really allow the Lord to enter into the nearest parts of you when you allow him in to say, okay, the hardest parts of me, fear man, even if I want to act like I'm not a people pleaser. It's rearing its ugly head again, even though I thought I tackled it 10 years ago. And so with that, then the Lord can enter into to cultivate fear of him over fear of man. But if you're like, no, that's not hard for me. Nope, not me. No, I'm good. I'm going to keep going. Then it's like, how are you going to let the Lord, help you there and watch what he's doing and be a part of what he's doing in your life, whether you want to or not. It'll just be like louder, bigger, harder if you're not willing to surrender and subject all those parts of you to him.
Like it does require some self-awareness.
Yeah.
It's a book we did with the staff. I'm trying to remember the name of it. It's actually, the title is a book I would usually stay away from just because of the title, but it's actually a wonderful book.
Are you going to say it or not say it?
The Gift of Being Myself, Knowing Myself. The Gift of Being Yourself, right? Which sounds very like self-helpy, but actually was recommended to me by one of my most like theological, deep, read a lot friends.
Let me guess. Eric Saunders.
Yeah, shout out.
That was such a compliment.
We should have him
and
on
I
here.
Guessed it.
If he recommends a book, you should read it. It's a fabulous book about learning to know yourself and how that self-awareness plays a huge role in your spiritual well-being. That's a side note, but yes.
It's a side note, but not really, because so much of the decision-making is peeling apart.
Yeah, because you have tendencies, I have tendencies. There are ways I would make bad decisions based off my tendencies and good ones. And there are ways you would make bad or good based off your tendencies. So learning to be aware of that. And I do think that behind that and what you said, like, how would I know if it's my voice or God's? A huge part of making decisions is people always want to know what to do in the moment, as opposed to cultivating the kind of relationship that would allow them access to have clarity about what to do in the moment. Meaning, John 10 says, I am the good shepherd, the sheep know my voice. And they recognize a stranger's voice, they recognize the shepherd's voice. And when the shepherd speaks, the sheep know. And there's these cool illustrations of like real time, people who are actual shepherds. They talk and the sheep respond. A stranger comes up, they talk, give the same command, the sheep don't respond. Sheep are notoriously dumb. So the idea being that they've come so familiar with their shepherd's voice, they can identify it when they hear it. And I think what happens is people expect like divine clarity from God in a moment without cultivating a spiritual sensitivity to the Lord over time.
Yeah, and you can't, like you said, expect to hear from him if you're not in the Word. Like, that's where you hear God speak.
Yes.
Through his Word. So don't.
Yes. It's the clearest, best place to be.
Yeah, I'm not into the woohoo. I don't know. I feel like I should
woohoo.
stop. I feel like I should stop.
You're not
there.
into the woohoos?
The woo-woo of God speaking when you're not in his Word at all. That's where he speaks.
Yes. People say they heard from God, but they can't quote you a Bible verse. Don't trust that person.
I would say God's voice never leads us to confusion. So in distinguishing that, if the biggest thing you feel is confusion over what to do, that is not from the Lord. And instead of worrying so much about the decision at play, try to unpack that and take that confusion, that turmoil before the Lord of all the things at play. And then as you're saying to, as you're seeking him, his voice will get louder. Also reduce the noise of the world and the other voices, especially in times of big decisions like fast, from food or from media or from like, do what you haven't done before to get results you haven't gotten before. Do whatever it takes and be serious about it. If you genuinely are in a state of like, I don't know what to do, then do all the things you don't normally do to figure out not necessarily what to do, but figure out how to not feel as you feel in what to do. You can make a decision with or without peace. But I would say God's way is of peace, not of pressure. So no pressure. Copyrighted Nate Cruz book coming
Peace, not pressure.
Probably like 2035, 2040.
Your way
Do you think?
matter. Yeah, that's likely. Whenever ChatGPT gets to the point where it can just do all of that for you, that's when my book
Write the
will
book for you. I got a book that I'm pretty sure it was very accessible. It was very good. It was about longevity.
But it was clearly ChatGPT written.
Thank
It's funny
you for
can
finishing
tell.
my sentence. But yes,
We are married.
It was.
Yeah.
Bummer.
They say
But
teachers
I read
can
it and it was
tell
fruitful.
when kids do that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this has been great. Has it? Question mark. Let us know. We'll do it again.
Hopefully you go make some good decisions.
There's so much to talk about in so little time.
Thanks for joining us today. For the crew and you, we want to walk with you while God works in you and through you. So no pressure. Go enjoy your time with God and make a good decision. See ya.